to our first entrepreneurship show, Keith.
It's so exciting, Michael.
Oh, it is, and we're looking at entrepreneurs discovering really their struggles, their challenges, how they've solved their problems. But we've got someone quite unique for our first show.
We have Len Zuks. Len is a world-acclaimed artist, sculptor, and soon-to-be entrepreneur.
He certainly is. Now, Len also does paintings, but I think he's very famous in the Byford area, which is a town, is it southwest of Perth?
It's 35k south of Perth. It's the fastest growing shire in Australia. And Len Zuks has been commissioned to put statues all the way through, and they are outstanding.
And they're huge.
Massive.
So we put together, went out and ran the canvas with Len's operations, saw him doing some of his sculpting work, and really got his story, didn't we, and how he has become really entrepreneurial in an artist field.
He's amazing. He's world acclaimed.
World acclaim? Let's watch.
That's the thing we lose when we get older. Someone spoils the process.
Can't complain. Craftsman at work. Come on, you two. Out the way. Top. Clear the set.
Seconds out.
Clear the set. Clear the set. That's my job.
Right on set.
Being an artist is not being in business. To me, the business sort of falls in behind me. I am a maker of things. I grew up loving making things, and once I'd grown into becoming an adult, I found that I was still finding and making things. And my business has spilt off from that regard for finding and making things. My name is Len Zuks, and my business name is Primary Works. My first job, believe it or not, I had at 10 years old, and I'm moving my art business from Perth to Boddington, and I went past a property which is about 3 kilometres out of Boddington, and that's the place where I had my first job. We were picking up rocks in the paddocks to make them cleaner, and we're getting paid 10 shillings a day. I didn't buy anything with that 10 shillings. We were a poor family. That 10 shillings came home and became consolidated revenue. The skills I acquired, my hands respond to my thoughts. So I'm self-reliant. However, you don't survive on just that alone, because I grew up a very shy and scared person, and I had to get through that barrier of fear to become a performer. And to get through that barrier of fear was really, really shocking. You'd get up and you'd publicly speak, but you would be shivering in your boots. But I moved through all of that. And one of the latest things I did was I did a radio announcing course, because I was starting to go overseas a lot. And if you're going to be interviewed by somebody overseas, you had to know how to perform a bit. I didn't want to be a star. I just wanted to not embarrass myself in the situation.
But what you're seeing here is an explosion of my confidence of many years. I couldn't do this when I was 5. I couldn't do it when I was 30.
Being an artist and being in business is a conflict, because a business is making a desirable thing and swapping it for money, and then you pay your bills. But in the art, that doesn't come into the mix at all. I'm just lost in the process of making. But you need the business as well.
You learn so much in getting older, and that is when things go wrong, they don't really go wrong. This is just a new direction maybe, not in my control. And I usually say to myself at times like that, where is it going to take me? An artist is someone who makes things with their hand, basically, and thoughts. So if someone has a desire to draw and they're not a good artist, they pick up a pen and they're putting the marks down, they're an artist. What happens when you get older and you become established? There are people out there who are like gatekeepers, and they say, oh, he's not an artist, he doesn't conform to a normal accepted manner of behaviour. But the beautiful thing about children, when you get into school at the age of 5, everyone can draw. Now you remember the story I said about me being the one who can replicate reality the most. That didn't make my work the best in the class. As an older person now and I look at the young kids' works, oh, I see some sublime lines. You know, they don't paint a lizard properly. But boy, they paint it better than Salvador Dali. You know, and then you get 20 kids in the class and they're painting a lizard. There's 20 different lizards, but 20 great renditions of a lizard. And see, that's the thing we lose when we get older. Someone spoils the process.
Because art didn't sell regularly, you cannot have the security of a family life if you depended on art. That means the wife would have to work or something. So I had to pull my weight, and I've worked all my life. I did a trade as a fitter and turner with Telecom, was there for 20 years. Then I went to the university. I was a teaching technician. I worked in the physics department, and I was with maintenance. But it was not a mentally demanding job. I was good at making things, so I was able to discharge my duties to the employer quite easily. But the thing is, working at the university, they're always maintaining and building things. The bins were full of gold daily. So, you know, it's amazing. Wherever I went, it's like everything was provided for me.
I have reverted back to my roots, which is the careless kid, because that is what it's all about. I make things through my hands because I can. I've got the space to do it because I've accumulated and I've invested in it and I've got it. There's no one who can tell me to go and stand in the corner and behave and do it properly. I do it my way. I do it my way with the steel. I do it my way with all the sculptures that you see around.
It's not a big break, but it was a lovely little vector. There was a councillor who operated in Mundaring. He loved artists and art and all of that, and he would use the Bilgoman swimming pool as an art gallery. The paintings would hang all around the fence, back to the road, and people would come in. I don't know if they paid, but they would come in and they'd have this walk around this amazing outside art gallery.
And she looked at my painting and she said, it's all right, but it's not the best because he hasn't got any red in the trees, and trees should have red in it. And I thought to myself, what a silly girl. When she went away, I put some red in it. She was so right. She was so right. Yeah. You know, I put green next to that, and it'll jump and jive. It really will. Because there are a lot of people who buck the laws and come out with some grand new things. And the only way you'll get new things is to push the fence over that people have built and go into new places. You know, someone said, if you're on a path, get off it. Metaphorically, you're not going to do it if you follow rules and continue same old.
The family code, when I say the family, I refer to my wife here, who said, you spend so much time doing your paintings and that. If you had a second job, you'd get paid more. What are you sticking with it for? But there it is. It says that the heart thing is you just can't separate it. And I think it's really important that for your peace of mind and your contentment in this realm is to live with yourself.
Vincent van Gogh
You know, not allowed to be in the Royal Academy. Wasn't accepted. I only sold one painting. Bottom line, what makes me happy? Making things, and no one can stop me making things. So if they want to see my work, the greatest collection is here in my personal domain. Yeah. But Byford, the town of Byford, has a considerable, really big pieces, and 10. There'll be 11th one there, and another one ordered for next year. So as an artist, I'm so grateful for these people to be that visionary and that helpful to my career. But my skill has ended up making their public domain really interesting for people who pass through. So it's become a beautiful collaborative thing. There are people who believe in what they're doing in Byford, and they've taken me for a whirlwind ride of great joy. Yep. I think because of there's a daintiness about like the cheekbone line and everything, and the hair, but there's also an indication of the skirt. But there's something really, see that point on the sculpture? I'm going to show you something about, say you've got a head, halfway between there and there I put a line. What do you think is on that line?
Nose.
It's the eyes.
Okay.
And halfway between there and there I put a line. What do you think is here?
Mouth.
No, it's the nose. And halfway between here and there, I don't really have to say, it's already, we sort of put the eyes sort of higher in the head. And the illusion for that seems to happen because, you know, the hair covers. Look at it. You see what I mean? It's perfectly proportioned. Sometimes the hair goes higher. For a man, you comb the hair over the side and big ears. But now we come to the face on this girl. If you extrapolate the proportions from there and get to the bottom of the nose, that face works. The point of the nose is important in that, and you come down to the chin. All the eyes and the top of the head come. You can see where I touched it, and already looks like the eyes. And then she's got this abstracted. And that is the head of the girl. Oh no, we've got a cheekbone line happening there. So we might look all abstract, but the proportions are worked out from the perfect proportions of the half, eyes, you know, tip, nose, and then mouth. There you go.
Were you taught that, or did you just happen to fall upon it, or?
No, when I was in tech school, someone showed me, and I said, here's me, an artist who was able to replicate reality all my life. I said, for real?
Yeah, it works.
And for real. My successes and strengths, I think, come from the fact that I stuck with it. If you had my ears and you heard the things people said to me to try and discourage me, you would also agree, how did you keep on going? But I chose to believe in myself. My one piece of advice to anyone going into business or particularly becoming an artist is self-belief. There are so many little words shared out there that can rock your boat, that can throw you off the rails, and if you believe it, if you choose not to believe yourself and believe them, you'll be off the rails and you'll lose all your contentment, you'd lose all the things that guide you, all the things that make it work for you. It's being true to yourself and believing then in yourself. Self-belief.
Wow, what a great show, Keith. What a first show, Len Zuks.
Well, you know, Len Zuks is an amazing person, Michael. I've been living in Byford for the area for a while. I've been seeing the statues and wondering where do they come from, you know?
Yeah.
And now we know.
I know, and how about for entrepreneurship? How about that? I think you coined the phrase, he's drawn to the tip.
Well, he is.
He takes the rubbish, doesn't he?
Well, I said to him, where do you get your material from? He said, the tip. What's that saying about someone's rubbish. And
Yeah, one man's rubbish is another man's gold.
and how he manufactures shapes out of it is just quite outstanding.
I think one of the things is for entrepreneurship and entrepreneurs and talk about going for it, I think he really encapsulates that if you've got a passion for something, if that thing moves you, you just go for it. And what I like about it is art, and making art moves him, but the art he produces moves other people. They love it, don't they?
They do, and they absolutely love it. Now, he's 67 years of age. All his life, he said since he's been 5, he's been making things with his hands because he loves making things.
Yeah.
So now, he's at 67. He's never ever sought fame or anything like that. But now this video will certainly put him back on the world map.
Yeah, and he does too. And I was actually having a look at him, what things he's got, apart from his passion. We hear about passion a lot, but from an entrepreneur's point of view, what has he got that we can learn from? I think one of the lessons I got from it, Keith, was when he said he's worked full time all his life to fund his dream, and it's just now that his dream's actually starting to fund itself. And I think quite a few times, not about yourself, but quite a few times, we read books and they say, quit your job. If you believe in it, just go for it. And that can be devastating for some people. And this is a man, I think, who's put sensibility in place. He's still chased his dream, but sometimes we do have to do what funds the dream until the dream will fund itself.
Yeah, Michael, I got a couple of things out of it.
Yep.
One was desire. This man has got desire, and he just never gives up.
No.
And I think the never giving up, he's been through some hard times. We can't say on air, but he hasn't been a bed of roses for Len Zuks.
No.
But he's got there, and now his life is going to a whole new world.
And I think one of the other things that for any entrepreneur and anyone going for it has got to be that self-belief. And I think that really ties into what you're saying.
The self-belief, yeah. And he is a good artist and a good sculptor. Well acclaimed, you know.
When I love you watch the video, he says at one part, he's doing that painting for us. Remember in the back shed?
Yes.
And he said, I couldn't do this when I was 35.
No.
And now I can. And I think it's a journey, isn't it? I think that's one thing he teaches about entrepreneurship. It's that journey he's taken, and he's encouraging other people. Look, if you've got a passion, enjoy the journey.
You know, one thing he told me that's not on the show is that they went to an exhibition in Venice. It's been going since the 1400s.
Wow.
He got asked to put a painting in. And guess what happened? The paintings got stolen. Well, I said to Len, that must have been devastating. He goes, well, at the time it was. He said, but what happened was all the other people had paintings stolen. We formed an association worldwide. And that association now meets once every 2 or 3 years. So out of that stolen painting has come a new organisation.
Wow. There's something good out of it.
Well, he looks in the positive sides, doesn't he?
I will give him that. And he is, and I think that's important for entrepreneurs. He always looks at the positive. So what is it? That's every cloud has a silver lining?
Something like that, yeah.
And he's always looking for that, isn't he? So he's always someone who believes that if you have a passion and a dream, go for it. But don't give up your life. He's talking about make sure you fund it properly so you can actually survive and feed the family. He's very responsible in that way.
Yes, he is, yes.
As you said, his passion, his self-belief, and that always be able to take the negative and say, well, that's just part of life.
Yeah.
What good can I turn out of this? That's a classic story.
Well, it is, and I think he even quoted once that often the man who wins is the man who thinks he can, which I think might have come from one of those famous people, you know.
Yeah. Well, I think it's been a tremendous first show. I hope you've really enjoyed our first entrepreneurship show. And Keith, we are going to be looking for other entrepreneurs. Look, and if you're one, send us an email, admin@101mediagroup.com.au, so we can have a look at it. We are going to look for, what we don't want to do is just teach out of a book, do we?
No. Real life stories with real people. That's the shows I want.